of an elbow, and then Mitchell goes right at it.
The miss. And a crossover. Winding up.
We waited a long time for this, and oh boy, was the start to the NBA season worth it. We had seasoned vets sporting fresh new threads, injuries popping up right out of the gate, on-court scuffles, and some truly magical moments on the court. So grab your popcorn because we are going to recap the pure cinema that was opening week. October 22nd, 2024. Praise be. Basketball is back, baby. And how did we kick things off? With the reigning NBA champs, the Celtics, squaring off against the revamped Knicks, featuring Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. Might this be a sneak peek at the Eastern Conference Finals? The big question on everyone's mind was whether Jason Tatum and Mikal Bridges broke their jump shots with all that off-season tweaking. Well, Tatum wasted no time answering. His new shot is faster, smoother, and with no hitch on the catch. He was on fire. Bridges? Not so much. His shots were all over the place. But props to Coach Thibodeau for letting him take the technical free throw to shake the rust off, even if Bridges kept missing. Eventually though, he drained a long one. Now, it's only game one, so we'll cut the Knicks some slack for their disorganized offense. The Celtics, on the other hand, made history from beyond the arc. Pritchard to Horford for 3. Boom, ties the record for 29 threes in a game. What a way to start the season. Over in LA, the Wolves weren't in town to play nice, but the real hype was around JJ Redick, the rookie head coach with no pro coaching experience, leading one of the league's most valuable franchises. Good news for Lakers fans, but it's already a night and day difference from last year's team. The ball was flying around and bodies were moving. Despite shooting just 3 for 19 from deep, they were still up 17 on last year's Western Conference finalists. LeBron did his thing, of course, driving to the rim like clockwork. Sadly for Minnesota, Julius Randle wasn't looking too hot. Hesitant, outmaneuvered on rebounds, he even let Austin Reeves beat him to the boards. At one point he passed up an open 3, only to commit an offensive foul driving into LeBron. Ant wasn't thrilled, and neither were the Wolves faithful. Randle just couldn't get it going, while Anthony Davis was busy knocking down mid-range shots over him. After the game, Rui Hachimura had some choice words about Randle's lack of effort.
We talk about Julius Randle. He sometimes he's just standing and stuff. So we talk about we gotta kind of use that.
Meanwhile, Coach Redick got the Gatorade shower after his first win. Then came October 23rd, and yikes, that it was a bloodbath across the league. Injuries everywhere. Players were hitting the floor left and right. Air balls were raining down like confetti. In Toronto, Grady Dick tried to get fancy with some slick moves for the Raptors, but style points don't count when the other team's just better. The Cavs, led by Donovan Mitchell, absolutely dismantled the young Raptors by 30. Mitchell even swatted Dick's shot from behind just for good measure, but the season's first major injury struck James Wiseman, who went down with a non-contact leg injury. Always a scary sight. Slow to get up, it didn't look good for the big man. Thoughts and prayers for him. And as if the Pistons needed more bad luck, they somehow ended up with 6 players on the floor at one point. It didn't matter though, because Tyrese Halliburton, who had been ice cold from deep all night, hit the game-winning dagger with just 22 seconds left. Because of course. Over in Atlanta, things were heated from the jump. The night started off on a high note, with the first overall pick drilling his first NBA bucket, a no hesitation 3, but then the game got feisty real fast. Tension skyrocketed when Dyson Daniels took a hard foul driving to the basket and was sent flying. He wasn't about to let it slide though. Daniels and Claxton got into it after Claxton smoked him with a mid-air forearm, leaving Daniels with scratches he definitely didn't arrive with. It was a clear wind-up, impact, and follow-through on a vulnerable player, which earned Claxton a flagrant 2 and a quick trip to the showers. And it got even spicier. A hard foul on Hunter by Thomas and Simmons led to another flare-up, this time with Okongwu getting into it with Thomas. Coach Jordi Fernandez had to step in to separate the players as things nearly spiraled again. Tempers were high in Atlanta, and we were just in the first half. Meanwhile, Trae Young was already in mid-season form, hitting the defense with a smooth ball fake to set up a perfect floater. But despite all the drama, Cam Thomas tried to carry Brooklyn on his back, dropping 36 points. He hit a deep 3 late in the game, but it wasn't enough, as Atlanta held on for the win. Elsewhere, Draymond Green wasted no time getting his first technical of the season. After picking up a foul for swiping at Avdija, Draymond, being Draymond, kept jawing at the refs, needing to be calmed down, but clearly, he was already moving well. In New Orleans, Josh Giddey didn't get a warm welcome either, as the crowd booed him on his way to a tough night. Meanwhile, Ja Morant was busy cooking the Jazz, pulling off ridiculous plays like a behind-the-back dribble into a hang and finish at the rim that left everyone whooping and hollering. But the night's most chaotic game had to be Hornets versus Rockets. Jalen Green, fresh off signing a massive new deal, nearly broke the internet with what could have been a dunk of the year. Except he missed the punch. On the other end, Sengun was showing off his playmaking skills, pulling some crafty moves that gave big-time Jokic vibes. Then there was Brandon Miller, who gave Hornets fans something to scream about when he threw down his first dunk of the season. It was a moment the Charlotte commentators had been waiting for, and they did not hold back. LaMelo Ball? He was doing his usual thing, putting fans on an emotional roller coaster. One minute, he's dishing an impossible no-look pass. The next, he's throwing up a wild shot that somehow finds its way in, as if the basketball gods were on his side. In the end, though, the Hornets walked away with the win, with Grant Williams hitting a clutch shot to seal the deal. While LaMelo was out there passing up open threes to share the wealth with his teammates, things were heating up in LA, too. Terrence Mann had reached his boiling point with Harden's antics, but Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, he was in heaven, soaking up the energy in his shiny new arena like a kid in a candy store. The Clippers game came down to the wire, with both teams battling to the last second. Blood was literally shed as Zubac accidentally caught Royce O'Neal in the mouth with an elbow, leaving O'Neal bleeding on the floor. And let's not forget the Clippers' wild new arena setup. It's already causing problems for visiting teams at the free throw line, but despite all the drama, Kevin Durant came through in the clutch, spinning into the lane and knocking down a huge shot over Harden to send the game into overtime. Clippers fans were pulling their hair out when Harden stepped to the line in the extra period with a chance to tie the game, but he bricked the free throw and the Clippers couldn't capitalize, giving the win to their opponents. To make matters worse, news broke that Kawhi Leonard would be missing a few weeks due to injury. However, on October 24th, 2024, the NBA season has officially hit full stride. Oh, and did I mention Klay Thompson's debut in a Mavs uniform? It felt strange, but seeing DeMar DeRozan lace him up for the Kings, even stranger. It didn't take long for the second overall pick to get his official "Welcome to the NBA" moment, courtesy of Jason Tatum. Tatum went straight to work, hitting a smooth bucket over the rookie like it was just another day at the office. Welcome to the league, Rook. That was the vibe. But Jordan Poole had plans of his own and kicked off the game by throwing an all-out pool party. In the blink of an eye, Poole was already flirting with a triple-double just 5 minutes into the game. His teammate, though, not so lucky. The crowd let out a collective groan after yet another airball from their guy, and it was clear this wasn't going to be his night. The defending champs, on the other hand, had no problem handling the Wizards. Sure, Pritchard's insane shot didn't count, but it still left everyone asking, how does this dude keep doing that? Meanwhile, Klay Thompson was out there silencing his doubters. In his Mavericks debut, Klay went nuclear from beyond the arc, setting a franchise record for most threes in a Mavs debut. Luka didn't even bother looking. He knew it was going in before it left Klay's hand. It was one of those Luka celebrates while the shot's still in the air kind of nights. Across from them, the Spurs' Wemby had a rough night, shooting just 27% from the field. But Chris Paul wasn't about to be outdone, putting up an even uglier 16%. Ouch. The Spurs' offense looked rough, and if they keep playing like this, that 5-year playoff drought might be due for a very unwanted extension. Back with the Mavs, Luka was busy doing Luka things, arguing with the refs, pulling off impossible passes, and showing off his endless bag of tricks. The real surprise? The Mavs are actually locking in on defense this year. When Bam Adebayo hit the floor, the ball was quickly jarred loose, leading to a highlight reel worthy play that had the crowd buzzing. Meanwhile, the Wolves had just come off a tough loss to the Lakers and were looking to bounce back in Sacramento. The Kings, though, they haven't won a home opener since 2013. Julius Randle was leading the charge for Minnesota, aggressive from the jump, hitting tough step-back threes like it was nothing. It was a totally different version of Randle than what we saw against LA Minnesota. They're playing a different style this season, launching more threes than ever before. Anthony Edwards was slinging dimes to Naz Reid in the corner for cash money triples, showing that the Wolves have seriously revamped their approach. DeMar DeRozan made his debut in the Kings uniform, looking sharp with his mid-range mastery. They don't call him the president of the MIDI committee for nothing. He dropped a team-high 26 points, slicing through defenses with ease, but even that couldn't snap the Kings' home opener curse. Moving to Denver, where Russell Westbrook got a standing ovation in his Nuggets debut, it was a mixed bag for Russ. He had his moments, like swatting away a shot with that classic Westbrook intensity. But there were also a few "did that just happen" moments, like when he airballed a shot and managed to knock a shoe out of someone's hand in the same play. You gotta love the chaos. The Nuggets offense, though, still in mid-season form, Jokic was out there dishing no-look passes like it was nothing, throwing a slick feed to Bruce Brown that had fans in awe. But in the end, the Thunder were the ones who took over. Chet Holmgren dominated on both ends, denying shots left and right, while Shai Gilgeous-Alexander danced on defenders like they weren't even there, hitting them with nasty fakes and mean finishes. OKC's defense was on full display, with Holmgren racking up multiple blocks. The scariest part? The Thunder came into the season with the youngest roster in the league, averaging just 20 years old. If this game is any sign, the rest of the NBA better watch out. But it was October 25th, 2024. That was the kind of NBA night that had it all. Thrills, chills, and just the right dash of chaos.
Trey opens with a long three.
The night kicked off in Atlanta, where Trae Young, rocking a fresh vibe, let the world know his game still slaps. Stepping way outside the logo, Trae drained a deep three and had everyone rethinking that whole Trae doesn't play defense narrative. He was hustling down low, and his energy paid off as the Hawks cruised. Oh, and he casually notched his 79th career 30-point, 10-assist game, leapfrogging Lurker for 5th most in NBA history. No big deal. Meanwhile, LaMelo was sinking absurd threes like he was playing on a different difficulty setting. He had defenders looking like they were stuck in quicksand while he danced around them. Fancy dribbling? Check. Drawing fouls with ease? Check. But despite his jaw-dropping highlights, the Hornets still took an L, falling by 5. Over in Utah, the Warriors were doing what they do best, making basketball look like art. Steph Curry was harassing defenders, forcing turnovers, and Wiggins was cashing in with open threes. As for the Jazz, let's just say they weren't exactly helping themselves with the kind of plays that make you facepalm, like a ball stuck on the rim. But back to the Warriors, Buddy Hield looked like the perfect fit in Steve Kerr's motion offense, dropping 6 threes and finishing the half with 24 points.
All he does is make threes.
He's keeping it going. Him and Steph working.
Splash Buddy was back in full force. Up in Toronto, things got wild. An overtime level intensity game, minus the overtime. Thanks to Tony Brothers blowing enough whistles to last a lifetime, the game stretched into a 3-hour marathon. How many free throws? 99. Yes, 99. It was so long Jay-Z might have said 99 free throws and no one had fun. Still, in between those whistles, Scotty Barnes reminded everyone why he's got next, slashing to the rim with ferocity. Scoot Henderson in Portland was weaving through defenses like he was trying to hit up every station at an all-you-can-eat buffet. For 3 quarters, it was all Scoot, but somehow the Blazers' magic ran out. That's when Brandon Ingram decided to put the Blazers to bed, nailing a cold-blooded game winner at the buzzer. To rub salt in the wound, Herb Jones and Zion teamed up for a rejection party, denying Portland's last-second attempts and securing a tight 2-point win for the Pelicans. Meanwhile, Giannis was doing his best Hulk impersonation, bulldozing through defenses like they were made of paper. Donovan Mitchell, even in the midst of some fumbles, managed to pull off an insane behind-the-back pass to Darius Garland, a highlight that had Cavs fans buzzing. In Orlando, Jet Howard was out there splashing threes right in front of his pops, and you could tell it was a proud dad moment. Speaking of LA, LeBron James was in full quarterback mode, launching pinpoint cross-court dimes that would have made Tom Brady jealous. Even in year 22, LeBron and AD's chemistry looked as smooth as ever, with LeBron throwing lasers and AD finishing the job. With the game already wrapped up, Devin Booker turned garbage time into his personal primetime, putting on a late show performance. But the real headline? For the first time in 13 years, the Lakers started the season 2-0. There's still, obviously, a lot more to come from the season. What are your predictions for it? Let us know in the comments below.